And good morning, boys and girls, mommies and daddies, grandmommies and grandpuppies. Today's story is the field trip on the bus. Oh my goodness gracious, this is going to be a first for many of the boys and girls at school, well, first grade, because they've never been on the school bus before. So they got all dressed in their special little shirts that matched. You know how Mommy likes to make their little shirts all the same in different colors. And they were so happy and so excited to go to school today because it was the field trip to the bakery. Oh my goodness gracious, they're going to get to see the bread being made, and then the bread put in the wrappers, and the wrappers put the twisty on. Oh, they were so excited. Oh my goodness gracious, they couldn't even sit still. So their field trip was early in the morning so that they would have time, you know, to do this before they had to leave school. And oh my goodness gracious, they sat there and they were just, and they just talking. And Miss Eileen kept saying, now, shh, boys and girls, just don't be so noisy. And they said, Miss Eileen, is any other boys and girls going to come besides us? And she said, oh, yes. She says, all three of you first grade kids are going to come. There's 2 more classes coming. That bus better be big. And Miss Eileen says, yes, we've got the biggest bus that the school has because that's how many kids are coming. Oh, my goodness gracious. Well, today she called in her teacher's aide to help her with the kids. Because after all, you know that when kids get together, they start getting kind of feisty sometimes. And so she didn't want to take any chance on anything going wrong. Well, here comes the bell, and they knew what that meant. So they all got in line. And they walked out of their classroom, and they saw the other 2 first grades coming out of their classrooms. And some of the kids knew some of the other kids, and then some of the kids didn't know any of the other kids. So this was going to be a really big deal. They all got on the bus, and Miss Eileen's class was the first ones to get on the bus. So they had to sit in the very back. And then the next first grade class that got on the bus, they were sitting in the middle. And then the last first grade class that got on the bus, they were sitting up in front. Well, before they started, and everybody had taken their seats, the bus driver got up and he said, okay, boys and girls, when we come home, I want the class that's sitting in the back. Who is the teacher? And Miss Eileen raised her hand and she says, I am. And he says, okay. He said, you will lead your kids in the bus last. And the children who are in this grade here, who was the teacher for this bunch of kids? And he pointed to the kids up in the front of the bus. He said, you will sit in the middle. And the middle children will sit in the back when we come home. That gives everybody a chance to sit different places. Well, isn't that a clever idea? So, with that, they started off. Oh my goodness sakes. It was a bumpy ride, and it was a scary ride. Sadie Skunk was crying. She was so afraid because this bus was big and it was going juggy, and oh, she just didn't know if it was going to make it or not. And then they were out on the interstate and they went around the corner like that. Patty Pig was sitting over there on that side, and she thought that bus was going to fall right over. It was so sharp. That curve was so sharp. Oh my goodness. And Piggly, Wiggly, and Squiggly, they kept telling the girls, now, it's going to be okay, it's going to be okay. Miss Eileen wouldn't let anything happen to us. Oh dear. Dear. Miss Eileen was getting kind of worried. So they got to the bakery. Oh my goodness gracious. Before they got to the bakery, like about maybe 6 or 7 blocks before they got to the bakery. The smell, oh, the smell was so good. Oh, it just was so good. And they go, oh, yum, yum, yum. That smells so good, because that's what a bakery does. And it smells like fresh bread, and it's warm. Oh my goodness gracious. It smells so good. They got out of the bus, and each one of the teachers and her teacher's aide corralled their children into 3 little groups, and out comes the head baker man, the very bestest baker man in the whole place. And he comes out and he says, so this is my 1st grade class. And he looks around, and they all said, yes, 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 yes. And he goes, well, he says, we've got a lot to see today. Excuse me. So we're going to take it in order. We're going to take you first to the room where all the dough is made, and it's all mixed up. And then we're going to take you to the room where it's poured into the pans to make the loaves of bread. And then we'll take you to the slicing room where they slice the bread with a big machine. And then we'll take you to the room where the bread is put into the bread sack. Oh my God. Now that's Petunia wanted to see that one, because she didn't know how they did it. She said, I bet you they do it piece by piece by piece. And Piggly says, no, they can't do it that way because it would take too long. How are they going to do it? And Little Bad Wolf says, well, maybe they have it on a thing that puts it into the wrapper, and nobody knew how to do it. And then we're going to take you in, the man continued, we're going to take you into the room with the twisties. Oh, that'd be a fun job, Wiggly said. And Piggly says, well, it would get kind of old after a while. That's all you do all day long is twisty, twisty, twisty. And Wiggly says, yeah, maybe so. Maybe so. And so the Mr. Baker man says, and you all get a loaf of bread to take home. Well, Mrs. Piggy, she was lucky because she had 3 little boys in that class, Piggly, Wiggly, and Squiggly, and they each got a loaf of bread. So that was pretty doggone lucky for her. Oh my goodness gracious, they had such a great time. They didn't want to leave each room because they were having such a great time watching everybody. Well, finally they got to the twisty room, and they knew that the next room they were going to be given a loaf of bread. Oh my goodness gracious. Now, Mommy Piggy always tells them when they go to the store, don't squash the bread. Well, they knew how to take care of their bread, and they sure did hope that everybody else did. Excuse me. So they got back on the bus, and the school bus driver, he had to leave, and he had another bus to go and drop off the children because it was almost time for school to be over. They had stayed all day. Guess who was driving the bus? Mr. Farmer Brown. You might know that Mr. Farmer Brown was a reserve bus driver for that school. Now, nobody expected Mr. Farmer Brown to be there. They were all so excited to see him. Well, they get on the bus, and one of the little boys accidentally set on his loaf of bread. Oh, it was pretty well squashed down. And he goes, oops, I don't think my mommy's going to be very happy with me. And all the boys and girls started laughing. And the teacher says, now you don't laugh at him. It was an accident. Well, little Sadie Skunk, she held hers very carefully on her little lap, and she says, you know, that I said, Sadie, it's supposed to be Sally, isn't it? Sadie's not in school yet. What's Grandmommy thinking of? So Sally Skunk held her bread on her lap so that it wouldn't get squashed or anything. And everybody else did too. Oh, there was a couple of more bread accidents. Somebody had knocked into the other person's bread and kind of squished up the top of it. There was a few accidents here and there because they're only first graders. Well, they finally got back to school, and they could see Mommy Piggy's car in the school line when they drove in, and oh, they couldn't wait to get through. So each one of the teachers went around to their children, and they said, now, we're going to let you out in front of the school, and the principal will be out there with the policeman to take you to your school, to your mommy's cars, just like every day. We had a great day, didn't we? And all the kids says, oh, Miss Eileen, we had such a good fun day today. It was so much fun, and it smelled so good at that bread place, and we just love that bread place. And she says, it's a bread factory. That's right, the bread place factory. And Miss Eileen says, oh, okay, that's what it was, a bread place factory. So they all get off the bus with their prize loaf of bread, and Mommy Pig says, oh, I didn't know they were going to get a loaf of bread. And Miss Sarah Skunk, Sally's mama, was so surprised that she should bring a loaf of bread home. I mean, all the boys and girls were just really surprised. Yeah, I mean, their mamas were really surprised. Well, they got home, and Mama says, let's have some sandwiches tonight with your fresh bread. Oh, that would be so good. So that's what they did. They had soup and grilled cheese sandwiches with fresh bread. And they went to sleep that night with a full tummy and best dreams they had ever had in a long time. And boys and girls, GrandMommy will see you Wednesday, and we'll see what else the boys and girls do. Okay? Bye-bye.